Welcome to Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative's monthly newsletter podcast for March 2026. We're here to spark your interest, energize your day, and keep you current with all the latest from our cooperative community. So let's plug in and see what's buzzing this month. Let's take a moment to talk about this year's annual meeting and how you can take part. Join us Thursday evening, April 16th, 2026 at the Maslowski Wellness and Research Center in Wadena. At 4:00 p.m., registration opens, free swim begins, and the transmission trail begins. Before the annual meeting powers up, we invite you to spark your day with our transmission trail, a fun interactive activity that helps you explore the mini circuits of your cooperative. When you arrive, you'll receive a transmission trail card. Then follow the flow of energy through each booth along the trail. Every stop is hosted by your elected board of directors and highlights a different part of how your co-op keeps our communities connected. Visit a booth, pick up a new charge of knowledge, and collect a stamp on your card. Once you've completed the trail, simply turn in your fully charged card. Every completed card is entered in for a chance to win prizes, a little extra incentive to stay plugged in and participate. At 4:30, bingo begins, and the business meeting with the meal will be called to order at 5:30. Members who stay through the business meeting will receive the heavy-duty paring knife attendance gift. You must be in attendance in order to receive the gift. We look forward to seeing you there. We have the official notice of the annual meeting in our March newsletter as well. Please take notice that a regular meeting of the members of Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative will be held at 5:30 p.m. Thursday, April 16th, 2026. The meeting will be held at the Maslowski Wellness and Research Center at 17 5th Street Southwest in the city of Wadena, Minnesota, at which time and place the following matters will come before the meeting for consideration. 1. The presentation and consideration of reports of officers and managers. 2. The election of 3 directors to serve terms of 3 years. Ballots will be mailed to all members. Alternative voting options will include electronic voting and on-site voting at the annual meeting on April 16th, 2026. Mailed and electronic ballots will be counted as a vote if properly received by survey and ballot systems by 8:00 a.m. Central Standard Time on April 16th, 2026. The nominating committee selected the following nominees whose names will appear on the ballot for terms expiring in 2029. Christine Spajensky, Dale Adams, Jean Kern, and Stephen C. Peterson. 3. Any other business to properly come before this meeting. Signed, Marie Catherhagen, Secretary. With that, we turn to Dan Carlisle's CEO column, Reliability and Our Commitment to Vegetation Management. When you become a member of Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative, you're not just signing up for electric service. You're becoming a part of the cooperative built on shared responsibility. One of those shared responsibilities is maintaining safe and reliable power through effective vegetation management. Trees and power lines don't mix well. In fact, trees are one of the leading causes of power outages across our region. Whether it's branches brushing lines during high winds or entire trees coming down during a storm, unmanaged vegetation can quickly interrupt service. That's why Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative maintains a proactive and consistent tree trimming policy. Our policy ensures that primary lines outside of residential yards are maintained with a minimum of 20 feet of horizontal clearance on each side of the pole line from the ground up. For overhead primary lines located in members' yards, we maintain a minimum of 10 feet of horizontal clearance on each side and 10 feet below the line. 3-phase power lines located in yards require 15 feet from the outside lines and 10 feet below the neutral line. Beyond the designated right-of-way, we also identify and address danger trees. These are trees that are dead, diseased, damaged, or leaning and could contact the line if they fall. Even a single tree outside the immediate corridor can cause outages or blinking lights if it comes down in the wrong direction. If you notice a tree near power lines that appears unsafe or could potentially impact service, please contact Todd Wadena. Our team will evaluate the situation and determine the appropriate next steps. Member awareness is a valuable part of keeping our system safe and reliable. This ongoing work is part of our vegetation management program, which includes tree pruning, brush removal, mowing, and targeted spraying. Our arborist, Joe Swirsky, coordinates this effort alongside Todd Wadena crews and our vegetation management contractor, Cars Tree Service. Portions of our system are rotated each year to ensure we eventually cover our entire service territory over time. By staying on schedule, we reduce outages, improve safety, and protect long-term reliability of your electric service. This spring and summer, we are spraying vegetation along circuits served by the Staples, Ward, and Hartford substations. Central Applicators has been contracted to perform this work and will notify affected members by mail regarding the timeline. I encourage you to carefully read the notification letter and contact Central Applicators if you have questions or concerns. Vegetation management isn't always the most visible part of what we do, but it is one of the most important. Reliable service doesn't happen by accident. It requires planning, consistency, and cooperation. Thank you for your understanding and partnership as we continue the work of keeping our right-of-way clear and power flowing safely to your home or business. And that was the CEO column for the month of March. Now, let's shift the current for a moment and look at how co-op members can stay plugged in to the decisions shaping Minnesota's energy landscape. Your voice matters in energy policy. Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative is one of 50 electric co-ops serving rural Minnesota. Together through our statewide organization, MREA, and our national organization, NRECA, we are working to ensure cooperative voices are heard at the Capitol this legislative session. Join us in advocating for reliable, affordable energy for all Minnesotans by signing up for Voices for Cooperative Power. This grassroots network helps make sure the needs of rural communities are represented in state and national policy decisions. Learn more and sign up at voicesforcooperativepower.com/Minnesota. As we continue through this month's newsletter, our next chapter highlights the 2026 director elections and the convenient voting options available to every member. Cooperatives are democratic entities owned by those they serve and governed by elected representatives. In fact, one of the 7 cooperative principles is democratic member control. In order to underscore this principle, we offer multiple ways to cast your vote. This year, you can vote for up to 3 candidates who will each serve a 3-year term ending in 2029. Vote by mail. Election ballots were mailed to all Todd Wadena members on or around March 10th. The order of the candidate names will be rotated among ballots. To vote by mail, complete your ballot, place ballot in secret envelope, and seal. Place secret ballot envelope in the white prepaid return envelope and mail. The ballots will be mailed directly to our election company, SBS, to tabulate. Your ballot must be received by April 16th, 2026. It is very important that the ballot is first placed into the secret ballot envelope, and then that envelope is placed into the pre-addressed and pre-stamped envelope to be mailed. If the ballots are not in a secret ballot envelope, they cannot be counted as a valid vote. The second option to vote is by voting online. Online voting must be completed by 8 a.m. on Thursday, April 16th, 2026. There will be instructions with the ballot you receive in the mail or via email on how you can vote online using Direct Vote. You do not need a Smart Hub account in order to vote this way. Once you've authenticated through the Direct Vote page, follow the instructions to cast your vote. Or if you're a registered user on Smart Hub, you can access your online ballot by logging into Smart Hub and clicking the Vote Now button, or open the Smart Hub app and vote there. And the third way you can vote in the 2026 director elections is by voting in person at the annual meeting. You can vote in person at the annual meeting on Thursday, April 16th, 2026 at the Maslowski Wellness and Research Center in Wadena. Registration opens at 4 o'clock with the business meeting called to order at 5:30 p.m. Voting at the annual meeting will be done with an iPad at registration. Election results will be announced at the close of the annual meeting on April 16th and printed in the May issue of the Pine to Prairie News. Next, we'll introduce the candidates running in the 2026 director elections.
Candidate Christine Spajensky. Christine and her husband Mark live 8 miles west of Minaga, where they dairy farm in a partnership with Mark's brother Mike. They milk 350 cows and farm 1,000 acres. Christine and Mark have 4 children: Ryan, wife Jen, Kate, husband Benny, Adam, and Seth. Christine has been the clerk for Runeberg Township for the last 20 years. She currently serves as director on DFA Co-op Central Area Council and serves as corporate board director. Director on the Minnesota Division Board, where she serves as chair, and corporate board director for Midwest Dairy. Her family actively attends Relate Church. Christine and Mark have been members of Todd Wadena since 1994. I have always been impressed with customer service, management of lines to decrease outages, cost savings programs, as well as lower rates compared to other cooperatives in the area. I value the cooperative model where members have a real voice in how decisions are made. It is vitally important that we maintain a strong cooperative for future generations, said Christine. Christine has served on the Todd Wadena board since 2019 when she was appointed to fill a vacancy. It has been a privilege representing the members while working with a great board and fantastic employees. In December of 2021, Christine completed her credentialed cooperative director training. She says, "I believe the more information and knowledge I can gain about the utility world allows me to make better decisions for our members." Candidate Dale Adams. Dale and his wife Susan enjoy life in the country on a farm south of Aldrich. Dale has been self-employed as an electrical contractor since 1977, but is now moving on to other adventures, including several rental properties in the Staples area. Dale was elected to the Todd Wadena board in 1996 and currently serves as treasurer. In 2012, he was appointed to represent Todd Wadena on the Star Energy Services board. He is also treasurer and trustee for the Church of Christ in Staples. After serving 25 years on the Bartlett Township board, he continues to serve the township as an election judge. He feels a challenge for the cooperative is the ability to maintain reliability when there is a push to move to all renewable energy, along with the Minnesota law requiring generation to be carbon-free by 2040. Wind and solar output varies and at times is not producing much on our coldest winter days when the demand is highest. Dale has been involved with electricity most of his life, from troubleshooting electrical problems to wiring buildings. He said, "My time on the board at Todd Wadena has given me insight into the power supply side of the industry. It is enjoyable to serve on the board of a cooperative that has such dedicated and knowledgeable employees working for the benefit of our members. I would be happy to continue to represent you on the board." Candidate Gene Kern. Gene Kern is a lifelong resident of the Bluegrass area in Wadena County, where he and his wife of 40 years, Jan, continue to reside on their farm. They have 2 children, Sarah and Adam, and 5 grandchildren. Gene graduated from Sebeka High School and from the University of Minnesota with a degree in agricultural education. After 25 years of dairy farming, Gene now raises beef and hay. He is also a substitute teacher and has spent the past several summers working for the Minnesota Department of Agriculture with the invasive species programs. Jean is a trustee at St. Hubert's Catholic Church in Bluegrass. A Todd Wadena director since 1996, Jean currently serves on Todd Wadena's Economic Development Committee and has taken the classes necessary to be a fully accredited electric cooperative director. Energy issues impact each of us, Jean said, and electric cooperative directors are challenged to keep current with research and development of future energy technologies. My goal is to help ensure that Todd Wadena continues to provide safe, efficient, reliable energy at the lowest possible rates. He also feels it is important to stay current on political mandates and keep good relationships with local and state politicians. We must work with our elected officials and keep them informed about the issues that affect central Minnesota, Jean said. Candidate Stephen C. Peterson. Steve has lived in Todd County his entire life. He graduated from Bertha Hewitt and attended Wadena Area Technical Institute, completing the 11-month class of Telephone Central Office. He worked on the family farm, along with other short-term employments, before landing a position at First National Bank in Bertha. There, he primarily learned their insurance agency business, which he ended up managing and then purchasing. Along with the agency, he became the IRA HSA Administrator and Security Officer for the Bertha office and the other 9 Star Bank offices. He retired first from the insurance agency and then the bank in January 2024. Outside of the bank, Steve did various things at the Bertha Hewitt School. Activities he was involved with include officiating football, boys and girls basketball, softball, and baseball. He was also recruited to announce for the indoor marching band concert for over 20 years. Currently, Steve does the public address announcements for football. Steve served on the Bertha Volunteer Ambulance Service for 24 years. He was elected to the Hewitt City Council for 6 years and served as mayor for 2. He also served on the Hewitt Fire Department for 27 years, serving as fire chief for 11 of those years. In 2016, he joined the Bertha Clinic Advisory Committee and is still an active member. Steve joined the Hewitt Lions as a charter member where he served multiple terms as treasurer and president. He is currently a member of 2 501c3 nonprofits, the Bertha Area Sportsman Club, of which he is president, and the Ringnecks Forevermore as a director. Steve has always been interested in learning new things. He believes the chance to be on the board of a very successful cooperative would be a great opportunity to learn more and contribute from his past varied experience whenever possible.
Now let's take a look at the highlights from the January 28, 2026 regular board meeting. As part of Todd Wadena's strategic plan to increase legislative efforts, CEO Dan Carlisle shared ideas from the CEO Close-Up Conference on opportunities and ways employees can support political actions and taking a nonpartisan approach. The board and management team discussed the recent MISO emergency event, extreme cold weather, and related outages. Board member Mike Thorson gave the Great River Energy report, noting how they ended the year $75 million ahead of budget. Due to upcoming transmission and turbine projects requiring a large investment, GRE is not refunding any margins in 2025. Rather, they are using the margins to maintain equity. Operations Manager Tyler Fisher gave a recap of 2025. Crews installed 109 new services, replaced 204 poles, completed 66 service upgrades, reconstructed 6 miles of overhead 3-phase, and converted 1.5 miles from overhead to underground. In vegetation management, over 22 miles of tree trimming was completed, and Todd Wadena crews addressed 182 tree service orders. Lisa Graba-Meach, CFO, presented the December and year-end financials to the board. Monthly kilowatt sales were 13% over budget, with a year-end 3% under budget. Energy revenue was 11% over budget, and year-end was 0.8% under budget. December's purchase power expense was 14% over budget, with a year end of 0.5% under budget. TIER is 3.04 and equity is 41.57. The board approved the 2026 membership and dues and the 2026 budget as presented. Member and Energy Services Manager Allison Fredrickson shared department highlights from 2025. Todd Wadena paid back rebates to members of $85,000 and has over 8,000 services enrolled in a load management program. The Operation Roundup Trust awarded over $20,000 to community organizations. The nominating committee met in January and officially nominated Jean Kern, Dale Adams, Christine Spajensky, and Stephen C. Peterson to run in the 2026 Board of Director elections for 3 positions. Graba Meach discussed Finance Department projects completed in 2025, including setting up banking positive pay, WAPA changes and new contracts signed, HR items, work order training for employees, and applying for a capital equipment sales tax refund. Director of Corporate Services, IT, and Cybersecurity, Abby Harrison, gave a recap of the IT and cybersecurity measures that were put in place in 2025. And those were the highlights from the January board meeting. You can view the March Pine to Prairie newsletter to see the 2026 Member Services Program and rebates available to members. Next in the cooperative news, power cost adjustments on March bills. The power cost adjustment on this month's bill reflects higher wholesale power costs passed through from Great River Energy. An extended period of unusually cold weather in January drove electricity use higher across the Midwest, creating very high demand on the regional electric grid. This led to significantly higher electricity prices in the wholesale market. Great River Energy and other utilities throughout the region were able to ensure the system remained safe and dependable during the cold stretch. Sufficient generation and system capacity were available to meet the need. Because the recent adjustment from Great River Energy was tied to energy costs rather than demand, the cooperative applied the power cost adjustment across all rate classes, so the costs are shared more fairly among members. Power cost adjustment frequently asked questions. What is the power cost adjustment? The power cost adjustment is a per kilowatt hour charge that reflects monthly changes in the cost of generating and delivering electricity. Fuel prices, weather, system load, and the regional generation mix can all affect power costs. Because your energy rate is fixed while wholesale power costs vary, the power cost adjustment adjusts for that difference each month. The power cost adjustment may appear as a charge, a credit, or zero. Why is there a power cost adjustment on my bill? As a not-for-profit cooperative, we only collect what is needed to operate the electric system. The power cost adjustment allows wholesale power cost changes to pass through without frequently adjusting base rates. Does everyone receive a power cost adjustment? Yes, this power cost adjustment will apply to all rate classes. Previously, it only applied to general service, large power, and 3-phase rates only. Interruptible rates were excluded because they reduce demand, but now the power cost adjustment now reflects energy costs, not demand, so applying it to all rates ensures fairness. The power cost adjustment is calculated the same way as your energy charge. The power cost adjustment rate per kilowatt hour multiplied by the number of kilowatt hours used. Members with more than one service or rate, such as general service and dual heat, may see multiple power cost adjustment line items tied to each service's usage. Next, we'll learn about how safety demonstrations spark curiosity across our schools. Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative spent January and February on the road sharing electrical safety demonstrations with local students. In total, our team visited 5 schools and community groups, reaching more than 275 students with hands-on demonstrations and real-world safety tips. Students learned why pad-mounted transformer boxes should never be used as play equipment, what to do if they're ever involved in a vehicle accident with a utility pole, and how to stay safe around electricity in their everyday lives. Along the way, a few may have even discovered a spark of interest in future line work careers. Next, we'll hear the annual cogeneration notification to membership.
In compliance with Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative adopted rules relating to cogeneration and small power production, Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative is obligated to interconnect with and purchase electricity from cogenerators and small power producers who satisfy the conditions as a qualifying facility. Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative is obligated to provide information free of charge to all interested members upon request regarding rates and interconnection requirements. All interconnections require an application and approval to become a qualifying facility. Any dispute over interconnections, sales, and purchases is subject to resolution by the Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative Board. Interested members should contact Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative, P.O. Box 431, Wadena, Minnesota 56482, or call 218-631-3120. Use the Nova Power Portal to find more documentation on interconnection as well as apply. More information is available at toddwadena.coop/cogeneration.
Before we wrap up, Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative's office will be closed on April 3rd for Good Friday. Happy Easter! Thank you for tuning in to this month's Pine to Prairie newsletter from Todd Wadena Electric Cooperative. To explore the full newsletter, complete with graphics, photos, and more, visit toddwadena.coop.